I was forced to marry a man in a coma, expected to care for his infant son, while powerful enemies hunted us both. But when he woke up and revealed I was destined to be his true mate all along, I had to ask myself, could I transform from the village outcast into the queen this broken kingdom desperately needs? The village streets narrow when I walk them. I've watched it happen since I was a child, the way people move away, the looks they try to hide. My gift scares them. I can see what they can't, the colors that glow around people, what they plan to do, and things that might happen in days to come. Today is the big Moonlight party that happens each year when the moon is fullest. I shouldn't have come. Being alone for so long makes you do silly things sometimes. I stay in the dark spots, my hood pulled down low over my face. I watch the people dance around the big fire in the middle of the village square. That's when I feel it, someone looking at me so hard it's like they're touching me. Across the fire stands a man who isn't like the others. Even from far away, I can see the light around him glows silver and dark blue, so strong it makes me catch my breath. He must be from a rich and powerful family. His face has sharp lines. He stands very straight, and people bow their heads a little when they walk past him. The Alpha King, I hear someone whisper. Our eyes meet for just the time it takes a heart to beat once. Something flashes in his face, not that he knows who I am, but that he knows what I am. I don't wait to see more. I run into the night, back to my little house at the edge of the woods, where the mean whispers can't follow. The next morning, I wake up with the Sunday. My little house feels safe again with the party far behind me. I make tea from the mint leaves I dried last summer and sit by my window. Outside, birds sing and the dew makes the grass sparkle. They fear what they don't understand. My mother used to tell me when I'd come home crying, before they threw rocks at her and called her a witch, before I had to bury her alone because no one would help me dig the grave. I shake away the sad thoughts and get to work. My shelves need sorting jars of dried plants, roots, and flowers that I use to make medicines. People from the village still come to me when they're sick, even though they cross their fingers behind their backs when they think I'm not looking. As I work, I can't stop thinking about him, the Alpha King. Why was he at our small village party? The royal city is many days' travel from here. And why did he look at me that way, like he could see through all my walls? Stop it, I tell myself. He's gone now, back to his castle and his important life. By midday, the sun is hot. I take my basket and knife and head into the forest to gather more plants. The cool shadows welcome me, and I feel my shoulders relax. Here, the trees don't judge. The birds don't whisper behind my back. I am just another living thing, not a monster or a freak. I find a patch of purple flowers that help bring down fevers. As I cut them, I sing a little song my mother taught me. The forest feels like it's listening. What a pretty voice, says a deep voice behind me. I jump and drop my basket, spinning around with my knife held out. An old man stands there, leaning on a walking stick. His white beard reaches his waist. I didn't hear him come up strange, since the dry leaves should have crunched under his feet. I'm sorry to scare you, child, he says with a smile that makes his eyes crinkle. I was just passing through. I lower my knife but don't put it away. These woods are far from any path, I say. No one passes through here. He laughs, a sound like water over stones. Smart girl. You're right, of course. I came looking for you. My heart beats faster. Is he from the village? Has someone sent him to chase me away for good? Don't be afraid, he says, as if he can read my thoughts. I'm a friend. Like you, I see things others can't. I study the light around him. It's gold and green, ancient somehow. Not like the muddy browns and grays of people who want to hurt me. What do you want? I ask, still not sure I should trust him. To warn you, he says, his face growing serious. Changes are coming. The man you saw last night, the Alpha King, I say before I can stop myself. Yes, he saw you for what you are, and that has set wheels in motion that can't be stopped now. What am I? I whisper the question I've asked myself 1,000 times. The old man smiles sadly, the last of a very old line. A seer, like your mother before you. There was a time when your kind were honored, not feared, when you stood beside the Alpha Kings as equals, as advisors. I shake my head. That can't be right. I'm no one, just a girl who sees too much. You are far more than that, he says, and soon you will have to choose. When he comes to your door, and he will come, what you decide will change not just your life, but the fate of the whole kingdom. This is crazy, I say, backing away. I don't want any part of kings or kingdoms. I just want to be left alone. We rarely get what we want, the old man says. But sometimes we get what we need. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small stone that glows with a blue light. Take this. When the time comes, you'll know how to use it. Before I can refuse, he places it in my palm. The stone feels warm, almost alive. Who are you? I ask. A friend, he says again. Perhaps the only one you have right now. He turns to go, then looks back. Remember, child, sometimes the thing we fear most is the very thing that will save us. With that, he walks between two large oak trees, and I blink hard to make sure I'm seeing right, simply fades away. I stand there for a long time, the stone warm in my hand, my heart racing. Am I going crazy? Did I imagine the whole thing? But the stone is real enough, glowing softly in the growing shadows. The sun is getting low. I gather my fallen basket and the plants I dropped, then hurry home. That night, I can't sleep. The old man's words keep playing in my head. I get up and pace my small house, checking the doors and windows over and over. Outside, the wind picks up, making the trees sway and creak. It sounds like they're trying to tell me something. I take out the glowing stone and set it on my table. In its light, I see pictures of a throne room with tall windows, a forest on fire, a baby crying, and blood. So much blood. I put my hands over the stone to block the pictures, but they just flash faster in my mind. A crown rolling across a stone floor, a sword rising and falling, the Alpha King's face, twisted in pain. I shove the stone into a drawer and slam it shut. The pictures stop, but I feel sick and shaky. Whatever's coming, I want no part of it. I'm not special or important. I'm just a girl who wants to be left alone. But as I finally crawl back into bed, as the sky begins to lighten, I know the old man was right about one thing. The Alpha King will come. And when he does, nothing will ever be the same. I spend the next 2 days getting ready, though I'm not sure what for. I clean my little house from top to bottom. I gather extra food and water. I hide my most precious things, my mother's books, the few coins I've saved, the necklace she gave me before she died. I sleep with a knife under my pillow, and I wait. On the third night after meeting the old man, a big storm comes. Rain hits my windows like tiny fists. Lightning turns the sky white, and thunder shakes the walls of my house. I sit by my fire, jumping at every sound, the glowing stone now hanging around my neck on a leather string. I couldn't leave it in the drawer it seemed to call to me, even through the wood. This is silly, I tell myself. No king is coming here in this storm. No king would come here at all. Just then, over the howling wind, I hear it a pounding on my door so hard it might break. My heart jumps to my throat. For a second, I think about hiding, pretending I'm not home. But the stone at my neck pulses warm. Once, twice. I know who's on the other side of that door. I take a deep breath, grab my knife, and walk slowly across the room. Another pound, even harder. I put my hand on the latch and pull the door open. Time seems to stop. The Alpha King stands before me, soaked to the skin, his eyes wild and desperate. Blood runs down the side of his face from a cut on his head. In his arms, he cradles something wrapped in a wet blanket. The bundle moves. A tiny hand reaches out. A baby's cry, weak but clear. "Please," the Alpha King says, his voice rough and nothing like I imagined a king would sound. "They're hunting us. My son, he needs help. He needs you." The stone at my neck burns hot. This is the moment the old man warned me about. The choice that will change everything. "Come in," I say, stepping back. "Quickly, before they see you." As he steps across my threshold, I know my life as the village outcast is over. Something new is beginning. Something that scares me more than all the mean looks and whispers ever could. But for the first time in my life, I also feel like I might be exactly where I'm meant to be. I shut the door against the howling wind and turn to face the Alpha King. He stands dripping on my floor, his fine clothes torn and muddy. Up close, he looks less like a king and more like a hunted animal, eyes darting around my small house, checking every corner, every window. "Is anyone else out there?" I ask, sliding the heavy wooden bar across the door. "I don't think so," he says, but his voice sounds unsure. "I lost them in the forest, but they won't stop looking." The bundle in his arms makes a soft, sad sound. He pulls back the wet blanket, and I see a tiny face, red from crying. The baby can't be more than a few months old. His eyes are screwed shut, little fists waving in the air. "He's cold and hungry," the Alpha King says. "I haven't been able to feed him properly for 2 days." I hesitate only a moment before reaching for the child. "Give him to me." The king holds the baby closer, not letting go. "You'll help us?" "I'll help the baby," I say firmly. "You I'm not so sure about yet." A flash of something, anger, pride, maybe both, crosses his face. But then the baby cries again, and his shoulders slump. He carefully hands over the small bundle. The baby weighs almost nothing in my arms. As I cradle him, his crying softens to hiccups and sniffles. I can see now that he has the king's dark hair and strong nose. But there's a sweetness to his face that must come from his mother. "Where is his mother?" I ask. Pain fills the king's eyes. "Dead. She died bringing him into the world." "I'm sorry," I say, and mean it. No child should grow up without a mother. I know that better than most. I carry the baby to my bed and lay him down carefully. Working quickly, I remove his wet clothes and wrap him in a dry, soft blanket I keep for special healing herbs. Then I check him over from head to tiny toes. Despite being cold and hungry, he seems healthy. "He needs milk," I say to the king, who hovers nearby. "I have some goat's milk I can warm." I pause, looking at his bleeding head wound. "And you need that cut cleaned before it gets infected." The king touches his temple, looking surprised to find blood on his fingers. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing if it festers and you die, leaving your son alone," I say sharply. "Sit by the fire. I'll tend to the baby first, then you." To my surprise, he obeys without argument, dropping heavily into the chair by my hearth. As I bustle around preparing warm milk for the baby, I keep glancing at him. The great Alpha King, feared and respected throughout the land, sits slumped in my chair, his eyes never leaving his son. When the milk is ready, I dip a clean cloth into it and bring it to the baby's lips. He sucks eagerly, his tiny hands grabbing at the cloth. "Does he have a name?" I ask. The king watches us, something soft in his eyes. "Not yet. There's a naming ceremony that should happen on his 100th day of life, but everything fell apart before we could hold it." I feed the baby until he falls asleep, milk drunk and finally warm. Then I gather my healing supplies and approach the king. "Let me see that cut," I say. He tilts his head to give me better access. The wound is deep but clean. As I wash away the blood, I notice other injuries, bruises on his neck, a gash on his arm that he's tried to bandage himself. "Who did this to you?" I ask, as I press a cloth soaked in healing herbs against his temple. He winces at the sting. "My cousin. He's always wanted my throne. When my son was born, he saw his chance. He poisoned many of my loyal guards during the celebration feast, then attacked in the night." His voice grows hard. "I fought my way out with my son and a few guards who stayed true, but we were separated in the forest." "And you came here? Why?" I ask, truly puzzled. "You could have gone to any village, any loyal lord's house." He looks at me directly then, his eyes the same deep blue as the stone around my neck. "Because I saw you at the festival. I know what you are." My hands freeze in the act of wrapping a bandage around his head. "And what am I?" "A seer," he says simply. "The first I've found in many years of searching. My grandmother told me stories about the seers who once stood beside the Alpha Kings, helping them rule with wisdom and foresight. She gave me this." He pulls out a stone from inside his shirt, hanging on a chain. It glows blue, exactly like mine. "It's meant to lead the king to his seer in times of need," he continues. "And it led me to you." I step back from him, my heart pounding. I'm no one's anything. I'm just a woman who wants to be left alone. "And yet you took us in," he points out. "You're helping us." "I'm helping a baby who needs it," I say. "That's all." He smiles slightly, the first time I've seen it. It changes his whole face from scary to almost handsome. For now, that's enough. I finish tending his wounds in silence, then make him a simple meal of bread, cheese, and dried fruit. He eats like he's starving, which he probably is. "You should rest," I say when he's done. "Take my bed. I've made a spot for the baby in that basket there. I'll sleep in the chair." He frowns. "I can't take your bed." "You can and you will," I say firmly. "You need to heal if you're going to keep your son safe." He looks ready to argue more, but exhaustion wins. He crosses to my small bed and practically falls onto it. Within minutes, his breathing deepens into sleep. I check on the baby, who sleeps peacefully in the basket I lined with soft cloths. Then I settle into the chair by the fire, pulling a blanket around my shoulders. But I don't sleep. Instead, I watch the king and his son, these strangers who have crashed into my quiet life like a storm. What am I going to do with them? How long will they stay? What happens when the people hunting them track them here? The stone around my neck pulses gently, as if trying to answer. I take it in my hand and close my eyes. Pictures flash in my mind. The king standing tall and strong, his crown gleaming. The baby, older now, laughing as he runs through a garden. And me, by their side, no longer afraid, no longer alone. I open my eyes with a gasp. Is that really my future? It seems impossible. And yet, the stone has never shown me things that didn't come true in some way. The storm rages on outside, rain beating against the windows. But inside my small house, for this moment at least, there is peace. 3 lost souls, brought together by forces I don't understand. A king without a throne. A baby without a mother. And me, a woman who has spent her life pushing others away to protect herself. I must have dozed off eventually, because I wake with a start when the baby begins to cry. The king stirs but doesn't wake. I hurry to the basket and lift the little one into my arms. "Shh, little prince," I whisper, rocking him gently. "Let your father sleep a bit longer. He needs it." The baby looks up at me with big blue eyes, so trusting. A wave of protectiveness washes over me. This child has done nothing wrong. He doesn't deserve to be hunted, to be in danger. I warm more milk and feed him, humming softly under my breath. As I do, I notice the first light of dawn creeping through my windows. The storm has passed. With the baby fed and changed, I place him back in his basket and move to the window. The forest glistens in the early morning light, every leaf and blade of grass sparkling with raindrops. It looks peaceful, but I know better than to trust appearances. I pull the curtain closed and turn back to my unexpected guests. The king sleeps on, his face relaxed in sleep, younger somehow. The baby coos in his basket, waving his tiny fists in the air. 3 days ago, I was alone, safe in my isolation. Now my house holds the 2 most hunted people in the kingdom. I should be terrified. I should be planning how to get them out of here as soon as possible. Instead, I find myself thinking about what I'll make for breakfast, whether the king likes honey in his tea, if I have enough clean cloths for the baby. The old man in the forest was right. Everything has changed. And somehow, standing here in my small house with a sleeping king and his baby son, I feel more right than I have in years. There's a soft knock at the door. My heart jumps to my throat. I freeze, not even daring to breathe. The knock comes again, just as soft. "It's me," a voice whispers, "the one from the forest." Relief floods through me. I hurry to the door and open it just enough to see the old man standing there, leaning on his staff. "You've made your choice, I see," he says with a smile. "Did I have one?" I ask. He chuckles softly. "We always have a choice, child. But sometimes the right one feels like it makes itself." He peers past me to where the king sleeps. "He found you. Who is he, really?" I ask. "And who are you?" He is exactly who he appears to be, the true Alpha King, now fighting for his life and his son's future. The old man's eyes twinkle. "As for me, I am simply a keeper of old knowledge, a watcher of patterns." "Why are you helping us?" "Because the kingdom needs him, and he needs you." The old man looks at me seriously. "Dark times are coming. You must be ready." "Ready for what?" But he just smiles and presses something into my hand, a small pouch that smells of herbs I don't recognize. "For the king's fever that will come tonight, make a tea from these when the time comes." "How do you know he'll get a fever?" "The same way you know things, child." "I see." He taps his temple. "Keep them safe. I'll return when I can." Before I can ask more questions, he turns and walks away, soon disappearing among the trees. I close the door and lean against it, clutching the pouch of herbs. My simple life is gone forever, replaced by something dangerous and unknown. Yet deep inside, a small spark of excitement burns. For the first time, I might have a purpose larger than just surviving day to day. I look at the sleeping king, the innocent baby. Whatever comes next, I know one thing for certain. I will protect them with everything I have. Just as the old man predicted, the Alpha King's fever spikes as night falls. I sit beside him on the edge of my bed, pressing cool cloths to his burning forehead. His skin glows with unhealthy heat, and his eyes dart beneath closed lids as if chasing something in his dreams. "No," he mumbles, tossing his head from side to side. "Protect him. Find her." "Shh," I whisper, dipping the cloth in fresh water. "You're safe. Your son is safe." In the makeshift crib I built from an old basket, the baby sleeps soundly, tiny hands curled into fists beside his face. He's eaten well today and even smiled at me once, a toothless, drooly grin that made my heart do funny things in my chest. I reach for the pouch of herbs the old man gave me and sprinkle them into a cup of hot water. The smell fills my small house, sharp and sweet at the same time, like pine needles and honey. As it steeps, the liquid turns a deep purple. "Drink this," I say, lifting the king's head. At first he fights me, turning away from the cup. "Please," I add, softer. "It will help the fever." His eyes flutter open, unfocused and bright with fever. "Are you real?" he asks, his voice scratchy. "Yes," I tell him. "I'm real. Now drink." This time he sips the tea obediently, grimacing at the taste. When he finishes, I help him lie back down. Thank you, he whispers, his eyes already closing again. His hand finds mine in the darkness, fingers curling weakly around my own. Don't leave. I won't. I promise. Though I'm not sure he hears me. He's already sliding back into fevered sleep. I sit with him through the long night, watching as the tea slowly does its work. By dawn, his breathing is easier, and his skin feels cooler to the touch. The worst has passed. As morning light filters through my curtains, I feed the baby again. I've started calling him Little One in my head, though I know he should have a proper name. Your papa is getting better, I tell him as he drinks his milk. He's very strong, just like you. The baby looks up at me with those big blue eyes, so trusting it almost hurts. I've never had anyone depend on me this way before. It's scary, but also feels right somehow. A week passes this way, the king slowly regaining his strength, the baby growing plumper and more alert each day. I venture out only to milk my goat and check my garden. The king warns me to be careful, to watch for strangers, to tell no one about him and the baby. I don't talk to people anyway, I tell him with a small smile. No one comes here unless they're desperate for a cure. He watches me from where he sits by the fire, whittling a small wooden toy for his son. They fear what they don't understand, he says. It was the same at court. My gift made others nervous. Your gift? I ask, surprised. You mean you can see things too? He shakes his head. Not like you. The alpha bloodline carries different powers. Strength beyond normal men, speed, healing. He runs a finger along the cut on his temple, now almost completely healed, and we can sense truth from lies, feel emotions from others. That sounds useful for a king, I say. It should be. But my cousin learned to shield his thoughts, his plans. I didn't see his betrayal coming until it was almost too late. His face darkens with anger and pain. The baby makes a fussy sound from his basket, as if sensing his father's mood. The king immediately puts down his knife and goes to lift his son. I'm sorry, little warrior, he says, his voice softening in a way that makes my heart squeeze. Papa didn't mean to upset you. I watch them together, this powerful man cradling his tiny son with such gentle care. It's hard to match this picture with the stories I've heard of the fierce alpha king who rules with an iron hand. Do you miss it? I ask. Being king? He looks up at me, surprised. I miss being able to protect those who depend on me. My people deserve better than my cousin's rule. Will you go back? Fight for your throne? His eyes grow distant. When I'm strong enough. When I can find allies I trust. He looks down at his son. When I know he will be safe. I nod, trying to ignore the little pang in my chest at the thought of them leaving, of being alone again. As if reading my thoughts, and maybe he can, the king says, you could come with us when the time comes. Me? I laugh, though it sounds hollow even to my ears. What would I do in a royal court? Hide in the shadows? Let people whisper about the strange witch by the king's side? Stand tall as my advisor, he says simply. Help me see what others hide. I turn away, busying myself with the herbs hanging from my ceiling. You don't know what you're asking. You don't know what it's like to be different, to be feared. Don't I? His voice is quiet but cuts through the room like a knife. Why do you think they call us the alpha bloodline? We're not fully like other men. My ancestors could shift their forms, take the shape of wolves. That power has faded over generations, but not the whispers, not the fear. Monster, they called me, behind my back. Beast King. I turn to look at him, really look at him. In the morning light, I can see something wild in his eyes, something that marks him as different from ordinary men, just as I am different from ordinary women. I didn't know, I say softly. We all have our burdens to bear, he replies, but they're lighter when shared. The baby gurgles happily, breaking the tension. The king smiles down at his son, bouncing him gently. He needs a bath, I say. And so do you. The king laughs, a real laugh that transforms his serious face. Are you saying I smell, healer? Like a wet dog, I tease, surprised at my own boldness. He pretends to look offended, but his eyes sparkle with amusement. Well then, I submit to your wisdom. A bath it is. While he bathes behind a screen I've set up, I wash the baby in a small tub of warm water. The little one loves it, kicking and splashing with delight. He'll be swimming before he walks, the king comments, emerging with wet hair and a clean shirt, one of my father's old ones that I'd kept all these years. Like his father? I ask. The king nods. I was always drawn to water. My mother said I was half fish as a child. Tell me about her, I say, wrapping the baby in a soft towel. Your mother. And so he does. As we sit together by the fire that night, he tells me about his childhood, about the kind queen who would read him stories, about his stern but fair father who taught him to hunt and track. He speaks of his first lessons with a sword, his first ride on a horse without help, the day he realized the weight of the crown that would one day be his. In return, I find myself telling him things I've never told anyone, about my mother's gentle hands, as she taught me to mix herbs, about the village children who once played with me before their parents pulled them away, about the lonely years after my mother died, learning to rely only on myself. You were so young to be alone, he says, his voice full of a warmth that reaches into my chest and wraps around my heart. I managed, I say with a shrug. You did more than manage. You thrived. He reaches out slowly, giving me time to pull away, and tucks a strand of hair behind my ear. You're remarkable. No one has ever called me remarkable before. Strange, scary, witch, those are the words I'm used to hearing. I feel my cheeks grow warm and look down at the sleeping baby in my arms. He likes you, the king says. He trusts you. Babies trust easily. Not this one. He cried with everyone at court except his nurse and me. He smiles at his son. He's a good judge of character already. Days turn into weeks. The king grows stronger each day, practicing sword movements in my small garden when he thinks I'm not looking. The baby thrives, starting to roll over and grab at anything within reach. And I find myself changing too, smiling more, laughing at the king's dry jokes, singing old lullabies I thought I'd forgotten. One night, as a full moon shines through my window, I wake to the sound of the baby fussing. Before I can get up from my pallet by the fire, the king is there, lifting his son from the basket. I've got him, he whispers. Go back to sleep. But I'm already awake, so I sit up and watch as the alpha king of the realm paces my small house, humming softly to his son. What's that song? I ask. An old one, from the mountains where my family began, he says, about the moon and her love for the lone wolf. It's beautiful. He smiles at me over the baby's head. I'll teach it to you someday. Someday. As if we have a future beyond these strange, suspended days in my little house. The baby settles back to sleep, but neither of us feels ready to return to our beds. Instead, we sit side by side at my small table, a candle burning between us. Why did you really come here? I ask suddenly. To my house, I mean. There must have been safer places, grand lords who would protect their king. He is quiet for a long moment, studying the flame. When I saw you at the festival, something connected. My stone grew warm. He touches the blue stone that hangs around his neck, matching mine. I knew we were meant to find each other. For what purpose? That, he says with a small smile, I don't yet know. But I trust the old magic that has guided my family for generations. I think about arguing, about telling him I don't believe in destiny or fate or old magic. But the words stick in my throat, because I do feel it too, this strange bond between us. the sense that our meeting was not by chance. What happens when you're strong enough to leave? I ask, voicing the fear that has grown larger each day. Will you go back to the capital, take your army, fight your cousin? Yes, he says simply. I must. For my son's sake, for the kingdom. And then? His eyes meet mine across the table. That depends on you. On me? On whether you'll come with us. Stand with me, not behind me. His hand reaches for mine, warm and calloused. I won't force you. It must be your choice. I look down at our joined hands, his so much larger than mine, yet holding mine as if it's something precious. I don't know if I'm brave enough, I whisper. You're the bravest person I know, he says. Taking in two strangers in the middle of the night, caring for a baby not your own, living alone all these years, facing the fear and hatred of people too small-minded to see your gift for what it is. When he puts it that way, I suppose I am brave. But the thought of leaving my safe little house, of facing a world that has never been kind to me, you don't have to decide now, he says gently, as if reading my thoughts again. But know this, whatever you choose, I am in your debt. My son and I both are. I don't want your debt, I say, surprising myself with the force of my words. What do you want? He asks, his voice dropping lower, his eyes never leaving mine. What do I want? No one has ever asked me that before. I've spent my life surviving, not wanting. I want, I begin, then stop, unsure how to put these new feelings into words. The baby makes a small sound in his sleep, drawing both our gazes to where he lies in his basket, peaceful and perfect. I want him to grow up in a world where he isn't afraid of who he is, I finally say, where no one calls him monster or beast or witch for the gifts he was born with. The king's eyes shine in the candlelight. That is what I want too, and together, perhaps we can build such a world. Together. The word hangs between us, full of promise and possibility. His hand tightens around mine, and I don't pull away. In this moment, in this tiny house, hidden at the edge of the forest, something shifts. A bond forms, not of duty or debt or even gratitude, but of understanding, of shared dreams, of hope. The three of us, a king without a throne, a witch without a people, and a baby too young to know the dangers that hunt him, have become something new, something that feels strangely like family. And for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid of what tomorrow might bring. The air feels different this morning, colder, sharper. I wake with the strange feeling that something is watching my little house. The Alpha King feels it too. I can tell by the way he stands at the window, his body tense like a bowstring pulled tight. What is it? I ask, keeping my voice low so we don't wake the baby. I'm not sure, he says, not turning from the window. But something's wrong. I join him, peering out at the forest edge. Nothing moves except the leaves dancing in the early morning breeze. But the birds aren't singing, and my goat stands stiff and alert in her small pen. The animals know, I whisper. Something's out there. He nods, his jaw tight. Get the baby ready. If we need to run, we should be prepared. Fear bubbles up inside me. We've had 3 peaceful weeks in my little house, the king getting stronger each day, the baby growing plumper and more alert, me learning to care for them both. It felt like we were in our own little world, safe from all the bad things outside. But now, the bad things have found us. I hurry to gather what we might need: milk for the baby, blankets, my small bag of healing herbs. The king straps on his sword, the one he's kept beside the bed every night. His eyes never stop scanning the forest. The baby wakes and starts to fuss. I pick him up, holding him close, trying to keep him quiet. The king comes to us, his hand gentle on his son's head. Whatever happens, he says, his voice so low I can barely hear him. Protect him. Promise me. I promise. I answer without even thinking. In these few weeks, This baby has become as dear to me as if he were my own. The king looks at me for a long moment, as if memorizing my face. Then he does something that stops my breath. He leans forward and presses his lips to my forehead, a touch as light as a butterfly's wing. "Thank you," he whispers, his breath warm against my skin. "For everything." Before I can respond, a sound cuts through the morning quiet hoofbeats on the path that leads to my house. Many horses, coming fast. The king's face changes in an instant, all softness gone. "Hide," he orders. "Take the baby and hide." "Where?" "There's nowhere." "The root cellar," he says, already pushing me toward the trap door in the corner of my kitchen. "Go now." "What about you?" I ask, clutching the baby to my chest. His smile is sharp as a knife edge. "I'll introduce myself to our guests." Fear makes me bold. I grab his arm with my free hand. "No, you're still not fully healed. You can't fight them all." "I don't plan to fight if I don't have to," he says. "But I need to know how many there are. Who sent them? I need information." The hoofbeats are louder now. They'll be here in moments. "Please," I beg. "Come with us." He touches my face just once, then steps back. "Go, now." I know that tone. It's the voice of a king, not a man, of someone used to having his orders obeyed. So I go, even as every part of me screams to stay with him. The root cellar is small and dark, the walls made of packed earth, the ceiling low enough that a tall man would have to stoop. I've stored vegetables and dried herbs here for years, their earthy smell filling the small space. I settle in the darkest corner, wrapping the baby tightly in his blanket to keep him warm and quiet. "Shh, little one," I whisper against his downy head. "We must be very quiet now." Above us, I hear the thunder of horses arriving, the shouts of men, heavy boots on my porch, a pounding on my door. I hold my breath, straining to hear what happens next. "Open in the name of King Cedric," a voice bellows. There's a pause, then the sound of my door opening. The king's voice drifts down, calm and steady. I was unaware my cousin had claimed my title. "How interesting," gasps and muttered curses from several men. "It's him," someone shouts, "the traitor king." "Traitor?" The king's laugh is cold as winter. Curious choice of words from men serving a usurper. "But seize him," orders the first voice. There's a sudden crash, furniture breaking, men shouting. The baby startles in my arms, his face scrunching up to cry. I quickly put my finger in his mouth, letting him suck on it to stay quiet. Above us, the fighting continues. I wish I could see what's happening. Is the king winning? Is he hurt? How many men are there? Then something strange happens. The noise stops suddenly, replaced by a heavy silence. When the king speaks again, his voice sounds different, deeper, commanding in a way that makes the hair on my arms stand up. "You will drop your weapons," he says, and I can almost feel the power in his words pushing through the floor above us. "You will kneel." To my surprise, I hear the clatter of swords falling, the thump of knees hitting my wooden floor. "Now," the king continues in that same strange voice, "you will tell me who sent you. Who else knows I am here?" "King Cedric," a man stammers. He has spies everywhere. Someone from the village reported seeing a stranger meeting with the witch who lives here. My heart sinks. The old man. Someone must have seen him visiting me. "And how many others know?" the king asks. "A full company marches a day behind us," another voice admits. "We were sent ahead to scout. How fortunate for me," the king says. There's a shuffling sound. Then he continues, "You will return to this company. You will tell them you found nothing but an empty cottage." We will tell them we found nothing," the men repeat, their voices oddly flat. "Now go," the king commands. "Ride east, not west. Take the long way back." I hear the men leaving, mounting their horses without another word. riding away. Only when the sound of hoofbeats fades completely does the trapdoor to the root cellar open. The king stands above us, a thin beam of light making his face look sharp and strange. "It's safe now," he says, his voice back to normal. "Come up." I climb out awkwardly, holding the baby with one arm. The king reaches down to help me, his hand strong and steady. My front room is a mess, a chair broken, my table tipped over, a shelf of dried herbs scattered across the floor. 5 swords lie abandoned near the door. "What happened?" I ask, looking around in wonder. "How did you—" The king doesn't meet my eyes. "I told you the Alpha bloodline carries certain gifts. You made them obey you," I say slowly, remembering the strange power in his voice. "With just your words." He nods, still not looking at me. "It's called the voice. Not all of us can use it, and even those who can only have it for a short time, in times of great need." Now he does look up, his eyes worried. "Does it frighten you?" I think about it, bouncing the baby who has started to fuss again. "No," I say finally. "It's just another kind of power, like my seeing." Relief washes over his face. "Many have called it monstrous, unnatural. People fear what they don't understand," I say, repeating what my mother always told me. "It doesn't make it bad or wrong." The king steps closer, taking his son from my arms. The baby immediately calms, as if he knows he's safe with his father. "We can't stay here," the king says, looking around my small house. "A full company will be here by tomorrow, and even if these men do as I commanded, my cousin will send others." My stomach knots up. "Where will you go?" His eyes find mine, steady and sure. Where will we go? "You're in danger now, too." He's right, I know. The village has always whispered about me, feared me. Now they'll hate me for helping the traitor king. There's nothing left for me here. "I know a place," I say. "Deep in the forest. My mother showed it to me when I was little. An old temple, hidden by trees and time. Few know it exists, and those who do think it's cursed." "Is it?" the king asks with the hint of a smile. "Only with spider webs and dust," I answer. "But it has stone walls and a roof that doesn't leak. We could hide there, at least for a while." The king nods. "How far?" "Half a day's walk, less if we move quickly." "Then we should go now, while we have light." He looks at the baby, then back at me. "Can you be ready in an hour?" An hour to pack up my whole life, to leave the only home I've known since my mother died. But looking at the king holding his son, I know I have no choice. My life is tied to theirs now, for better or worse. "Yes," I say, "I'll be ready." We work quickly, gathering only what we truly need. Food that won't spoil, blankets, my herbs and healing supplies. A small bag of my mother's treasures, her book of remedies, her silver comb, the blue stone that matches the king's. Everything else I leave behind. The king helps me release my goat from her pen. "She'll find another home," he says, seeing my sad face as she trots off into the woods. Animals are good at surviving. I hope he's right. As the sun climbs higher, we set out, the king carrying his son in a sling across his chest, one hand always near the hilt of his sword. I lead the way, following paths only animals usually take, paths my mother showed me long ago. The forest feels alive around us, watching, waiting. Every snap of a twig makes us freeze. Every bird call might be a signal, but hour after hour passes without any sign of the king's enemies. By midday, we reach a small stream. We stop to rest and give the baby some milk. The king scans the forest, his body still tense, ready for danger. "How much farther?" he asks. "Not far now," I tell him, "just beyond that ridge." He nods, but I can tell something still bothers him. "What is it?" I ask. The king is quiet for a long moment. "Those men," he says finally. "They called you a witch. I look down at my hands. That's what the village has always called me, and my mother before me. Because of your gift? The seeing? That. And the healing. People don't trust what they don't understand. His hand finds mine, warm and rough with calluses. I understand, he says simply. 4 small words, but they fill a hole in my heart I didn't even know was there. We continue on, the forest growing thicker, wilder. Few people ever come this deep. The trees here are ancient, their trunks wider than 3 men standing with arms outstretched. Moss hangs from branches like green beards. The very air feels older, heavy with secrets. Finally, we reach a place where vines and bushes grow so thick they form a wall of green. I push aside a curtain of ivy to reveal a narrow path, almost hidden. This way, I whisper. The king follows me through the green tunnel. When we emerge on the other side, he stops, his breath catching. Before us stands the temple, not grand or tall, but beautiful in its way. Built of gray stone, now covered in moss and flowering vines, it has one main room with walls still standing strong, though the wooden door rotted away long ago. Statues guard the entrance, their faces worn smooth by time and weather. Who built this? The king asks in wonder. My mother said it was here before our people came, I tell him. That it was built to honor the old gods who ruled the forest and sky. The king steps forward, touching one of the stone statues with reverence. My grandmother told stories of such places, sacred grounds where the veil between worlds is thin. The baby makes a happy gurgling sound, as if he approves of our new home. Inside, the temple is cool and dim. Dust and leaves cover the stone floor, but the roof has held, keeping the space dry. At the far end stands an altar of some kind, a flat stone table now serving as home to small ferns and moss. It needs cleaning, I say, suddenly worried the king will find it too simple, too rough. He's used to palaces, after all, but he smiles, looking around with approval. It's perfect, hidden, defensible. He touches the thick stone walls, strong. We'll be safe here while I plan our next move. I set down my pack, a strange feeling washing over me. This morning I woke in my own bed, in the house I've lived in all my life. Now I'm in an ancient temple deep in the forest, with a king and his baby son, hiding from men who want to kill us. What's wrong? The king asks, noticing my face. Nothing, I say quickly. Just tired from the walk. He studies me, seeing more than I want him to. You're afraid, aren't you? I counter. To my surprise, he laughs. Terrified, he admits, but not of our enemies. He looks down at his son, then back to me. I'm afraid of failing him, of failing you, me. The king steps closer. You've given up everything to help us. Your home, your safety. His voice drops lower. I swear to you, when this is over, when I take back my throne, you will have a place of honor. You and your kind will never be feared or hated again. His words paint a picture so beautiful I almost can't bear to look at it. A world where I'm not feared, where I can use my gifts openly, where I belong. I don't need a place of honor, I say softly. Just a place where I'm not alone. Something flashes in his eyes, surprise, then a warmth that makes my cheeks heat. He reaches out slowly, giving me time to step away if I want to, but I don't. His hand cups my face, thumb brushing my cheek. You'll never be alone again, he promises. Not as long as I live. The baby chooses that moment to let out a demanding cry, making us both jump. The king laughs, the serious moment broken. He has his father's timing, he says, moving to take his son from the sling. I smile, watching them together. Whatever dangers wait outside, whatever fights lie ahead, right now we are safe, together. And for the first time in years, I'm not afraid of tomorrow. 2 weeks pass in our hidden temple. We settle into a rhythm, the three of us. During the day, I clean and make the stone building more like a home. I hang blankets to make small rooms. I gather fresh moss for our beds. I find wild onions and mushrooms in the forest and add them to our meals. The king works too. He fixes the holes in the roof. He makes traps to catch rabbits for our dinner. He carves wooden toys for his son. At night, we sit by a small fire, talking in low voices while the baby sleeps. We talk about everything: his childhood in the royal castle, my years alone after my mother died, the books we've read, the places we've seen. He tells me about his dreams for the kingdom, for a world where people with gifts like ours are respected, not feared. Sometimes, when the baby is sleeping soundly, he teaches me to defend myself, how to hold a knife, where to strike if someone grabs me, how to move quietly through the forest. "You're a natural," he says one evening as I sneak up on him without making a sound. "I've had lots of practice hiding from village boys who thought it was fun to throw rocks at the witch's house," I tell him. His face darkens with anger. "No one will ever throw rocks at you again." In these quiet days, I watch the king with his son, how he makes silly faces to make the baby laugh, how he changes dirty cloths without complaining, how he sings old lullabies in a deep, rumbling voice that makes the baby's eyes grow heavy with sleep. I watch the baby too. He grows stronger each day. He can roll over on his own now. He reaches for things with chubby hands. He knows my face and smiles when I pick him up. And something happens inside me that I didn't expect. This tiny person, this little bundle who isn't mine by blood, has wrapped his small fingers around my heart. I would die to protect him. I would kill to keep him safe. The thought should scare me, but it doesn't. On the morning that changes everything, the sun rises blood red. I wake from dreams filled with shadows and whispers. The stone around my neck feels cold against my skin, though the air is warm. "Something's coming," I tell the king when he wakes. I can feel it. He doesn't question me. He's learned to trust my feelings. "I'll scout the forest," he says, buckling on his sword. While he's gone, I play with the baby, trying to push away the dark feeling. The little one sits on a blanket, batting at the wooden toys his father made. His laugh is the sweetest sound I've ever heard. I memorize it, storing it away like a treasure. When the king returns, his face tells me everything before he speaks. "Soldiers," he says, "a full company, maybe more. They've set up camp less than half a day's ride from here." My heart drops like a stone. "Your cousin's men?" He nods. "They have his banner." "How did they find us?" "They haven't. Not yet. But they're searching in a pattern. It's only a matter of time." I hold the baby closer. "What do we do?" The king is quiet for a long moment, his eyes on his son. "I'll lead them away," he says finally. "Make them follow me north, away from here." "No!" The word bursts out of me. "It's too dangerous. There are too many." "I won't engage them," he promises. "Just let them see me, then lose them in the mountains." "And then what?" I ask, fear making my voice shake. "I'll find my loyal lords, the ones who refuse to bow to my cousin. They've been gathering forces in secret. With their help, I'll take back what's mine." My stomach twists into a hard knot. I knew this day would come. The king can't hide forever. He has a throne to reclaim, a kingdom to save. But knowing doesn't make it easier. "When?" I ask, though I already know the answer. "Tonight," he says. "When it's dark." The rest of the day passes too quickly. I help the king prepare, though every part of me wants to beg him to stay. I fill his pack with food and herbs for healing. I sew an extra pocket inside his cloak for the blue stone he always carries. The baby seems to know something is wrong. He's fussy and clingy, crying when his father puts him down. "He knows," I say as the king paces with his son, trying to calm him. "Children always know when bad things are coming." "Nothing bad is coming for him. the king says fiercely. Or, for you, I'll make sure of it. As the sun begins to set, turning the forest gold and red, the king hands me a small knife in a leather sheath. Keep this with you always, he says. Promise me. I take it, feeling the weight of it in my hand. I promise. He kneels before me, taking both my hands in his. There's something I need to ask you. Something I have no right to ask. Anything, I say, and mean it. His eyes are serious, full of worry and hope, and something else I'm afraid to name. If I don't come back. Don't say that. If I don't come back, he continues, will you raise my son as your own? Teach him about his father, about his heritage, but keep him safe above all else? Tears fill my eyes. You're coming back. Promise me, he insists. I need to know he'll be loved if I can't be here to love him. A tear spills down my cheek. I already love him, I admit, as if he were my own. Relief washes over the king's face. He raises my hands to his lips and kisses them. Thank you. As darkness falls, the king puts on his cloak and straps his sword to his side. The baby is finally sleeping, worn out from crying. I've left something for you, the king says, nodding toward a small wooden box on the altar stone. Don't open it until I'm gone. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. He crosses to where his son sleeps and kneels beside him. Grow strong, my little warrior, he whispers, kissing the baby's forehead. Know that your father loves you more than his own life. When he stands and turns to me, his eyes shine with unshed tears. I'm not good with goodbyes, he says. Then don't say goodbye, I tell him. Say until we meet again. A smile touches his lips. Until we meet again, my seer. He crosses to me in 3 long strides and pulls me into his arms. Before I can catch my breath, his lips find mine. The kiss is brief, but full of everything we haven't said. Fear and hope and longing and promises, too big for words. Then he's gone, slipping into the darkness like a shadow. I stand at the temple entrance long after I can no longer see him. The forest is alive with night sounds, owls calling, small animals rustling in the underbrush, leaves whispering in the gentle breeze. Somewhere out there, the king moves through the darkness, heading toward danger while I stay behind, safe with his son. Finally, the cold drives me back inside. The baby still sleeps peacefully, one small hand curled into a fist beside his face. I add wood to our fire, watching the flames leap and dance. My eyes fall on the wooden box the king left. It's small, just big enough to fit in my palm, carved with symbols I don't recognize. My fingers tremble as I open it. Inside lies a ring on a silver chain. The ring is heavy gold, set with a deep blue stone that matches the ones we both wear. It's clearly royal, the kind of ring a king would wear, or give to his queen. A small piece of parchment is folded beneath it. In a strong hand, 5 words are written. Wait for me, I will return. Fresh tears fill my eyes as I slip the chain over my head, letting the ring rest beside my blue stone. I'll wait, I whisper to the empty air. We both will. Days pass. I mark them with small cuts on a stick. 5 days, 10, 15. The baby grows more each day. He can sit up on his own now. He babbles sounds that almost seem like words. I tell him stories about his father, how brave he is, how kind, how he will come back to us. I tell myself the same stories, especially at night when the darkness feels too heavy and the silence too loud. As the days turn into weeks, I venture farther from the temple, gathering food, checking for signs of soldiers. The forest becomes my ally, hiding us, feeding us, keeping us safe. One morning, about a month after the king left, I wake to the baby's happy squeals. He's learned to scoot himself across the floor by pushing with his legs, not quite crawling but close. I watch him with pride as he makes his way toward a sunbeam on the temple floor. The sun catches on something around his neck, a tiny version of the blue stone his father and I wear, hanging on a cord I wove from strong vines. The king left it for his son, along with a letter I'm keeping safe until the boy is old enough to read. Your papa is very clever, I tell the baby as I scoop him up, leaving us pieces of himself to hold on to. The baby grabs at my face, laughing. In these weeks, I've given him a name in my heart, not a royal name that might put him in danger if overheard, but a simple name from an old story my mother used to tell. A name that means light in darkness. After breakfast, I wrap the baby snugly against my chest and walk to the small stream near the temple. The day is warm and bright, the forest peaceful, birds sing in the trees above us, and butterflies dance over wildflowers that bloom along the path. At the stream, I sit on a sun-warmed rock and dip my feet in the cool water. The baby watches the ripples with wide, wondering eyes. See the fish? I point to the tiny silver shapes darting beneath the surface. When you're bigger, your papa will teach you to catch them with your hands. He told me he learned when he was just a little boy, not much bigger than you are now. The baby kicks his feet in excitement, making me laugh. These are the moments that make the waiting bearable, when I can see the future stretching out before us, full of possibilities. But as we sit by the stream, a sound breaks the forest peace, the distant neigh of a horse. I freeze, straining my ears. There it is again, along with the jingle of metal bridles or armor. Heart pounding, I gather up the baby and hurry back toward the temple. I move as the king taught me, stepping carefully to avoid making noise, staying low and in the shadows. From the safety of the temple entrance, I peer out at the forest. Nothing moves among the trees, but I can still feel it. We are no longer alone. That night, I don't sleep. I sit with the king's knife in my hand, the baby cradled against my side. Every sound makes me tense, ready to run or fight. When dawn comes, I make a decision. We can't stay here, not if soldiers are nearby. We need to move deeper into the forest, find somewhere even more hidden. I pack quickly, taking only what we need: food, blankets, the king's wooden box with his letter to his son inside. The baby watches me with solemn eyes, as if he understands that things are changing again. It's going to be okay, I tell him, though my voice shakes. I promised your papa I'd keep you safe, and I will. As the sun climbs higher, I strap the baby to my back and pick up our small pack of supplies. At the temple entrance, I look back at the place that has been our home for these weeks, where I first began to hope for a future I never thought I could have. We'll come back, I whisper, when it's safe, when your papa returns for us. With those words, I step into the forest, away from the temple, away from the sounds of horses and men, deeper into the wild, where no one will find us, where we will wait for however long it takes for the king to return. I don't know if he'll find us. I don't know if he's even still alive, but the blue stone around my neck still glows warm against my skin. The ring he left still hangs beside it, and the baby, his son, who feels like my son too now, still needs me to be strong. So I walk on, one foot in front of the other, into the unknown, carrying the most precious thing the king could have entrusted to me, carrying hope. 3 months pass like water flowing in a stream. Summer fades into fall. The leaves turn bright red and gold, then drift to the ground in crisp piles. The air grows cooler each morning. The little one and I have found a new home deep in the forest, a cave hidden behind a waterfall. It's cold but safe. No one can find us here. The baby has changed so much. He crawls now, fast as a little rabbit, getting into everything. His first tooth has pushed through his gum, making him fussy for days. He says "Mama" when he sees me, though I've tried to teach him to say "Papa" too. I want him to know his father when he returns. If he returns. No, I can't think like that. The king will come back. The blue stone around my neck still glows warm. The ring he left me still hangs beside it. These things tell me he lives. On this morning, the baby plays with smooth stones I've collected from the stream. He bangs them together, laughing at the sound. His cheeks are round and pink, his eyes bright. He looks more like his father each day. "Hungry, little one?" I ask, reaching for the rabbit stew bubbling over our small fire. The baby bangs his stones harder, which I take as a yes. As I feed him, I talk about his father. I do this every day, so he won't forget. "Your papa is tall and strong," I tell him. "His eyes are blue like yours. His laugh is deep like thunder but warm like sunshine. He loves you more than anything in the world." The baby watches my face as I talk, as if he understands every word. Maybe he does. There's magic in his blood, after all. After breakfast, I wrap him warmly against the fall chill and strap him to my back. We need more food. Winter is coming, and we must be ready. The forest has been kind to us. It's shown me where berries grow, where nuts fall from trees, which plants are good to eat and which will make you sick. Today I'm looking for the fat roots that grow near the old oak tree. They taste like sweet potatoes when roasted in the fire. As I dig in the soft earth, the baby coos and babbles on my back. Birds sing in the trees above us. The wind whispers through leaves still clinging to branches. All seems peaceful. That's when I hear it, a twig snapping. Someone is walking in the forest. Not an animal. A person. I freeze, my hands full of dirt and roots. The baby senses my fear and goes quiet. Another snap, closer now. Then men's voices, rough and low. "The tracks lead this way," one says. "Are you sure it's her?" asks another. The description matches. Woman alone with a baby. Living wild in the forest. My heart pounds so hard I think it might jump from my chest. How did they find us? We've been so careful. I put down the roots and wipe my dirty hands on my skirt. Moving slowly, carefully, I back away from the voices, deeper into the trees. The baby stays quiet, as if he knows we're in danger. When I'm far enough away that I think they won't hear me, I turn and hurry toward our hidden cave. My feet know the path, even when my eyes can barely see through tears of fear. At the cave, I quickly gather our few important things: the king's wooden box with his letter inside, the blue stones, the knife he gave me, a blanket for the baby. I wrap them in a bundle and tie it to my waist. "We have to leave," I whisper to the baby, who watches me with solemn eyes. "The bad men are coming." But where can we go? Winter approaches. The forest will soon be covered in snow. We need shelter, food, warmth. We can't just wander without a plan. An idea comes to me, sudden as lightning. The old woman who lives at the edge of the next valley. My mother took me to her once when I was small. She's a healer, like me. She might help us, give us shelter until the king returns. Decision made, I strap the baby more securely to my back and slip out of the cave. The waterfall hides us as we pass behind it, the cold spray making the baby whimper softly. I hush him gently, promising him warmth soon. We travel all day, keeping to the deepest parts of the forest where men rarely go. My legs ache. My back hurts from carrying the baby. But fear keeps me moving forward. When night falls, I find a hollow tree to shelter in. The baby and I curl together for warmth, neither of us sleeping much. At first light, we move on. By midday, we reach the edge of the old woman's valley. I can see smoke rising from a small house near the tree line. Hope lifts my tired spirits. Maybe we'll be safe there. As we get closer, I see it's just as I remember, a small wooden house with a thatched roof, a garden full of herbs and vegetables, chickens pecking in the yard. It looks peaceful, normal, safe. I knock on the door, suddenly aware of how I must look: dirty, wild-haired, thin from months in the forest. The baby peeks over my shoulder, curious. The door opens. The old woman stands there, her face lined with years but her eyes sharp and clear. She looks at me, then at the baby, and her eyes widen. "You're the forest witch," she says. It's not a question. "Yes," I answer. "I need help. We need shelter, just for a while." She studies us for a long moment, then steps back. "Come in, child. You look half frozen." Inside, her house is warm and smells of herbs and fresh bread. The baby makes happy sounds, reaching for the bright objects hanging from the ceiling, dried flowers, bundles of herbs, small shiny things that catch the light. The old woman gives us food, warm bread, cheese, hot tea. She doesn't ask questions, not yet. She just lets us eat, watching with those sharp eyes that seem to see more than what's on the surface. When our stomachs are full and the baby plays happily with the wooden spoon, she sits across from us at her table. "Now," she says, "tell me why you're running." I don't know why, but I trust her. So I tell her everything: the king, his wounded arrival at my door, the baby, our months in hiding, the blue stones, the men searching for us. The only thing I keep to myself is the king's true identity. I just call him my friend. When I finish, the old woman is quiet for a long time. "You've carried a heavy burden," she finally says. "You and the little one can stay here. Winter is no time for a baby to be living in a cave." Relief washes over me like a warm bath. "Thank you," I whisper, tears filling my eyes. "Don't thank me yet," she warns. "This valley isn't as remote as it once was. People come through now, traders and travelers. If someone is looking for you, they may find you here too. We'll be careful, I promise. We won't leave the house." She nods, but her eyes are troubled. "Rest now. We'll talk more later." That night, the baby and I sleep on a pallet near the fire. For the first time in months, I sleep deeply, without fear. The old woman's house feels safe, protected somehow. Days pass peacefully. The old woman teaches me new healing herbs I didn't know before. I help her in her garden, pulling the last vegetables before winter kills them. The baby thrives with regular meals and warmth. His second tooth comes in, and he learns to pull himself up to stand, holding onto chairs and table legs. But peace never lasts. One cold morning, a knock comes at the door. The old woman and I freeze, looking at each other with wide eyes. The baby, playing on the floor, keeps babbling happily, unaware of the sudden tension. "Hide," the old woman whispers, pointing to the small root cellar beneath a trapdoor in the floor. I scoop up the baby and quickly climb down the ladder. The old woman closes the door above us, leaving us in dim light that filters through cracks in the wood. From our hiding place, I hear the old woman open her front door. Men's voices drift down to us, hard and demanding. "We're looking for a woman and a child," one says. "We have word she might be in this area." "I live alone," the old woman replies, her voice steady. "As you can see." "Mind if we look around?" another man asks, though it doesn't sound like a question. "I do mind," the old woman says firmly. "I'm an old woman who values her privacy." "This isn't a social call, grandmother," the first voice says, growing harder. "We have orders from King Cedric himself. The woman we seek is harboring the traitor king's heir, a matter of state security." My blood turns to ice. They know who the baby is. The king's cousin wants his son the rightful heir to the throne. "I told you, I live alone," the old woman repeats. "Then you won't mind if we search your house," the man says. I hear heavy boots on the wooden floor above us. The baby, sensing my fear, begins to whimper. I press him close, trying to quiet him, my heart pounding so loud I'm sure they can hear it. The men move around the small house, opening cupboards, looking behind curtains. Their boots stop right above the trapdoor. I hold my breath. "What's this?" one asks. "My root cellar," the old woman answers, "where I store vegetables for winter." "Open it." the man commands. I hear the scrape of the trapdoor. Light floods our hiding place. I look up into the faces of 3 men wearing the royal guard's uniform, swords at their sides. "Well, well," one says, smiling without warmth. "Look what we found." "Leave her alone," the old woman cries. "She's done nothing wrong. Harboring the enemy of the crown is treason," the guard says coldly. "Both of you will answer for it." "The baby is innocent," I protest as they drag us from the cellar. "He's just a child." "The child is heir to a traitor," the guard says. "King Cedric has ordered all threats to his rule eliminated. Fear unlike anything I've ever known grips me. They mean to kill the baby, the king's son, the little one I've cared for all these months, who calls me Mama and laughs when I tickle his belly." "No," I say, my voice stronger than I expect. "You can't have him." The guards laugh. "You don't have a choice, witch." Something shifts inside me. A strength I didn't know I had rises up like a wave. The blue stone at my neck grows hot against my skin. The king's ring beside it pulses with power. "There's always a choice," I say, and I feel different, somehow taller, stronger, my voice ringing with authority I've never felt before. I think of the king, how his voice changed when he commanded the soldiers who came to my house. The voice, he called it, a gift of the Alpha bloodline. I don't have that gift, but I have my own. I look directly into the eyes of the lead guard. "You don't want to take this child?" I tell him, pushing all my will into the words. "You came here looking for a woman with dark hair, not light like mine. Her baby had brown eyes, not blue. We're not who you seek." The guard's eyes go slightly unfocused. "You're not who we seek," he repeats slowly. The other guards look confused. "Sir?" one says. "She matches the description exactly." "No," the lead guard says, shaking his head. "Her hair is wrong. The baby's eyes are wrong. It's not them." I keep my eyes locked on his. "You'll go back to your king and tell him you found nothing in this valley. No woman, no baby. Just an old healer who lives alone." "We found nothing," the guard agrees, his voice flat. "Just an old woman alone." The other guards look at each other, clearly confused, but they don't argue with their leader. "You should leave now," I continue, my voice strangely calm. "Return to the capital before the winter storms make travel impossible." "Yes," the lead guard says, already turning toward the door. "We should go now." When the door closes behind them, the old woman stares at me with wide eyes. "What did you do?" I sink into a chair, suddenly exhausted. The baby crawls into my lap, patting my face with his small hands. "I don't know," I admit. "I just knew I couldn't let them take him." The old woman sits across from me, her face serious. "That was old magic, the kind few remember. The kind that was thought lost when the seers were hunted to extinction." "Seers?" I remember the king using that word, saying I was one. Those who could see what others couldn't, who could bend truth and perception. She reaches out to touch the blue stone at my neck. "This is a seer stone. Where did you get it?" "It was my mother's," I tell her. "And this one was the king's." I show her the matching blue stone and the ring on its chain. The old woman's eyes widen. "The Alpha King gave you his royal seal? The one passed down through generations?" I nod, not sure why it matters. "Child," she says softly, "do you know what that means? That he trusts me to care for his son? It means far more than that." She shakes her head in wonder. "But now is not the time. Those men may have left, but they'll be back when your magic wears off. And next time, they'll bring more men, ones not so easily swayed." "What do we do?" I ask, holding the baby close. "You must leave," she says firmly. "Tonight, go north to the mountains. There are caves there, deep ones where no one will find you. Take food, blankets. I'll give you what I can. But winter, Winter in a cave is better than death at a usurper's hand. She cuts me off. The little one is the true heir. If they find him, they will kill him, and you with him. I know she's right. The peaceful days in her warm house are over. We must run again. But this time, I'm not just running out of fear. I'm running to protect the baby, my baby now, in all the ways that matter. I'll be ready at nightfall, I tell her, a new determination filling me. The old woman nods approvingly. You've found your strength, she says. The king chose well when he left his son in your care. As I prepare for our journey, packing food and blankets, I think about what just happened. The power I felt, the way the guard's eyes changed, the way he believed what I told him even though it wasn't true. Is this what the king meant when he said I was a seer? Is this why people feared my mother and me? The baby plays with the blue stone around his neck, unaware of the danger, of the power in his blood and mine, unaware that we're about to face the harshest winter of our lives, hiding in mountain caves from men who want him dead. But I know now what I didn't fully understand before. The king didn't just leave me with his son. He left me with his heir, the future king. And I won't let anyone take that future away. As night falls, I strap the baby to my chest, close against my heart. The old woman gives us a pack of food and a map drawn on a piece of bark. Follow the North Star, she tells me. Don't stop until you reach the White Cliffs. You'll find the caves there. I hug her, this woman who helped us when we needed it most. Thank you. Go with the old gods, child, she whispers. They've marked you for great things, you and the little one both. With those words ringing in my ears, I step out into the cold night. The baby snuggles against me, trusting me to keep him safe. And I will. No matter what comes, I will protect him. The king's son, my son now, my family. Under a sky bright with stars, we set off toward the mountains, toward whatever future awaits us there. I don't know if the king will find us. I don't know if we'll survive the winter. But I know one thing for certain, no one will take this child from me. Not while I have breath in my body. The blue stones around our necks glow softly in the darkness, lighting our way forward. The mountain caves become our home as winter wraps the world in snow and ice. Days blend together in a haze of cold and hunger. I tell the baby stories to keep us both from going crazy in the endless dark. I sing songs my mother taught me. I play games with my fingers to make him laugh. Food grows scarce. The old woman's supplies run low. Some days I go hungry so the baby can eat. He grows anyway, strong and clever. He takes his first steps in our cave, wobbling across the stone floor into my waiting arms. His first real word is cold, which makes me laugh even as my heart aches. We survive on hope and the warmth of the blue stones that never stop glowing. I tell myself every day that the king will come, that he hasn't forgotten us, that he's fighting his way back even now. When spring finally arrives, melting the snow in patches, we venture out more often. The baby, no longer really a baby, but a toddler, now squeals with joy at the sight of green things growing, at birds singing in the trees, at the feel of warm sun on his face. One bright morning, as we sit by a small stream eating the first berries of the season, I hear the sound of horses moving through the forest below our cave. I grab the little one and hurry back to our hiding place, heart pounding in fear. Quiet now, I whisper as I tuck him into the deepest part of the cave. Remember our hiding game? He nods, eyes wide but trusting. After so many close calls this winter, he knows the drill. Stay quiet, don't move, wait for Mama to come back. I kiss his forehead and press the knife the king gave me into his small hand. Hold this for me. I'll be right back. Outside, I climb to a high rock where I can see the forest below. A group of riders moves through the trees, at least 20 of them. My heart sinks. So many, too many to fight or trick with my growing but still limited powers. But as I watch, something strange happens. The riders stop and make camp right there in the open. They don't spread out to search. They don't move toward our cave. They just wait. And then I see him, standing apart from the others, looking up toward the mountains as if he can feel me watching. Tall and strong, his dark hair longer now, his face leaner but still the same. The king, my king. I nearly fall off my rock perch. He's alive. He's here. After all these months of waiting, of hoping, of keeping his son safe, he's come back for us. Part of me wants to rush down the mountain right now, but caution holds me back. What if it's a trap? What if it's not really him, but someone made to look like him? As if sensing my doubt, he reaches into his shirt and pulls out something that catches the Sunday his blue stone. It glows bright as a star, pulsing with light. The stone around my neck answers, growing warm and bright against my skin. The little one stone, too, back in the cave, must be glowing. It's him. It's really him. I scramble down from my perch and race back to the cave. The little one sits just where I left him, the knife clutched in his small fist. We need to go, I tell him. Gathering our few belongings, the wooden box with the king's letter, a blanket, the small wooden toys his father carved that I've kept safe all these months. Bad men? He asks, his face serious. No, little one, I say, my voice breaking with joy. Your papa has come back for us. His eyes grow huge. Papa? My papa? Yes, my brave boy, your papa. He leaps into my arms, nearly knocking me over with his excitement. See Papa now! Yes, we'll see Papa now. I strap our pack to my back and lift him into my arms. He's heavy now. Not the tiny bundle the king first handed me what feels like a lifetime ago, but I'd carry him to the end of the world if I had to. We make our way down the mountain carefully. The little one chatters non-stop, asking questions about his papa that I try my best to answer. Is he big? Yes, very big. Is he nice? Yes, very nice. Will he like me? Oh yes, he loves you more than anything. As we get closer to the camp, I slow down, still cautious despite the pull of the blue stones, drawing us together. I set the little one on his feet, but keep hold of his hand. Stay close to me, I tell him. No running ahead. We approach the edge of the camp. Guards see us and raise the alarm. Men grab swords, form a line between us and the rest of the camp. State your business, one calls out, his voice hard. Before I can answer, another voice rings out, one that makes my heart leap in my chest. Stand down. The men part like water, and there he is, running toward us, his face a mix of hope and disbelief. The little one sees him and somehow knows, even though it's been so long. Papa, he shouts, breaking free of my hand, to run to his father on sturdy little legs. The king falls to his knees, catching his son in his arms, lifting him high in the air before hugging him close. My boy, he says, his voice thick with emotion. My brave, strong boy. I stand frozen, tears running down my face at the sight of them together at last. The king looks up at me over his son's dark head, his eyes full of things I'm afraid to name. You kept him safe, he says, his voice breaking. You kept your promise. I did. I managed to say through my tears. He stands, still holding his son, and closes the distance between us. His free hand reaches out to touch my face, as if making sure I'm real. I never stopped looking, he says. Every day, I searched for signs of you both. The stone led me here, finally. I never stopped waiting, I tell him. I knew you'd come. His eyes drop to the chains around my neck, the blue stone and his ring, still hanging side by side. You wore it every day. Something flashes in his eyes, hope, hunger, home. He leans forward slowly, giving me time to back away. But I don't. His lips find mine, gentle at first, then with a need that makes my knees weak. his son, caught between us, giggles and pats both our cheeks. When we break apart, the king presses his forehead to mine. "I have so much to tell you," he says. "So much has happened. Tell me everything," I say. He takes my hand and leads me into the camp. His men bow as we pass, not just to him but to me as well, which feels strange after so long being hunted. In his tent, as the little one plays with new toys brought by his father, the king tells his story, how he gathered loyal lords to his cause, how they fought battle after battle against his cousin's forces, how, just a month ago, they took back the capital city. "My cousin is dead," he says, his voice flat. He refused to surrender. I didn't want more bloodshed, but he gave me no choice. "I'm sorry," I say, though I'm not sure if I mean it. The king's cousin would have killed his own nephew, a child, to keep the throne. "There's more," the king continues, his face growing serious. "Things I learned while in the capital. Things about you, about us, that explain so much." "What things?" He takes a deep breath. "The seers weren't just advisors to the Alpha Kings of old. They were our mates, our equals in power, our partners in ruling. The blue stones were created to help each king find his true mate, the one seer whose gifts would complement his own." I stare at him, trying to understand. "But that would mean that we were always meant to find each other," he finishes for me. "That the connection we felt from the first wasn't by chance." "But we never met before the festival," I say, confused. "I would remember." His face darkens. "That's the worst part. We did meet years ago, but my cousin made sure we both forgot." "How is that possible?" "There are herbs, potions that can make a person forget. My cousin found the last known supply and used it on both of us. Then he spread rumors that I'd fathered a child with a serving girl while drunk." The little one looks up at the sound of his father's angry voice, his small face worried. The king immediately softens, reaching out to ruffle his son's dark hair. "It's all right, little warrior. Papa's not angry at you." When the boy goes back to his toys, the king continues, his voice lower. "My cousin knew what would happen if a true Alpha King found his seer mate. Our combined power would be too great for anyone to challenge. So he kept us apart, kept me drugged and controlled. When I started to wake up, to remember glimpses of the truth, he tried to kill me. My head spins with this new knowledge." "So, the baby is yours as much as mine," he says, taking my hand. "Born of a union my cousin tried to erase from our memories. But some bonds can't be broken, not even by dark magic." I look at the little one, playing happily on the floor of the tent. My child, my son. The missing piece clicks into place, and suddenly I understand why I felt such a deep connection to him from the first moment. Why I would die to protect him. "Why didn't you tell me before?" I ask, my voice shaking. "I didn't know," the king says simply. "Not until I found my grandmother's private journals in the palace. She knew what my cousin had done, but she was too old and sick to stop him. She left the truth for me to find if I ever returned." The little one crawls into my lap, tired of his toys. He snuggles against me, then reaches for his father's hand. The three of us, connected again after so long apart. "What happens now?" I ask, afraid to hope for too much. The king's eyes meet mine, clear and determined. "Now we go home, to our palace, our kingdom, together." He touches my cheek gently. "If you'll have me, that is. I won't force you to be my queen if it's not what you want." I think about all we've been through, the king appearing at my door, wounded and desperate, the months caring for his son, the long separation, the dangers we faced. I think about the connection between us, the one that has only grown stronger with time and distance. "I want to be where you and our son are," I tell him, "whether that's a palace or a cave or anywhere in between." His smile is like the sun breaking through clouds after a long storm. "Then let's go home, my queen. Our people are waiting to meet the woman who kept their future king safe. the woman who will stand beside me as we build a new world, one where no one with gifts like ours will ever be feared or hated again. He leans in to kiss me, and this time I meet him halfway, our sun giggling between us, our blue stones glowing warm against our skin, binding us together just as they were always meant to do. 5 years pass like a dream. I stand on the balcony of the tallest tower in the palace, watching the sun rise over our kingdom. The morning light turns everything golden, the gardens below, the city beyond the palace walls, the mountains in the distance where we once hid in caves. So much has changed since that day in the forest when the king, my mate, my husband, found us again. The little boy who once fit in the crook of my arm is now a prince of 6 years, tall for his age, with his father's dark hair and my green eyes. He runs through the palace halls with the confidence of someone who has never known fear or rejection. He is loved by all who meet him, from the highest lords to the kitchen maids who slip him extra sweets when they think I'm not looking. And I have changed too. The frightened woman who once hid from village whispers now stands proud as queen. The crown still feels heavy sometimes, but I've learned to carry it with grace. My gift, once feared, is now honored. People come from far away to ask for my sight, my wisdom, my healing knowledge. Today is special, the spring gathering, when people from all corners of the kingdom come to the palace. Not just nobles and knights, but ordinary folk too. And most importantly, those with gifts like mine and my husband's. The children born with the sight, the men and women who can speak to animals or make plants, grow with a touch of their hands. The old ones who remember the ancient ways, the magic that flowed through the land before fear drove it into hiding. 5 years ago, such a gathering would have been impossible. Those with gifts kept them hidden, afraid of being called monsters or witches. But my husband kept his promise. When he took back his throne, the first law he changed was the one that made magic a crime. Now those with gifts are protected, respected, even sought after for the help they can give. I hear small footsteps behind me and turn to find my son, still in his sleeping clothes, rubbing his eyes. "Mama, are you ready?" he asks, his voice thick with sleep. "Papa said to come find you. The people are arriving." I smile and kneel to straighten his rumpled shirt. "I'm ready, little prince, but you need proper clothes for such an important day." He wrinkles his nose. "Do I have to wear the stiff coat with the buttons?" "Yes, you do," I laugh, taking his hand to lead him back inside. A prince must look like a prince, especially today. In our chambers, servants have laid out our clothes for the day. My dress is deep blue, like the stone I still wear around my neck. My son's outfit matches his father's dark blue with silver trim, the colors of our house. As my maids help me dress and arrange my hair, I think about the journey that brought me here, from the lonely cottage at the edge of the forest to this grand palace, from an outcast to a queen, from a woman afraid of her own power to one who teaches others to embrace theirs. "You're quiet this morning, Your Majesty," says my chief maid, an older woman who has served me since I first came to the palace. "Just thinking," I tell her, "about how much has changed." She smiles, pinning the last silver ornament in my hair. "For the better, I'd say. The kingdom hasn't been this peaceful in generations." She's right. Under my husband's rule, with my help beside him, the land has flourished. The harvests are good. Trade flows freely. People no longer look over their shoulders in fear. When I'm ready, my son and I make our way to the great hall. The palace hums with activity servants rushing about, guards standing at attention, musicians tuning their instruments. My son skips beside me, unable to contain his excitement. "Will Tomas be here?" he asks, speaking of his favorite playmate, the son of a lord from the northern provinces. "Yes, all the noble families will attend," I tell him, "and many others too." At the entrance to the hall, my husband waits for us. 5 years as king have added a few silver threads to his dark hair, a few lines around his eyes. But they only make him more handsome to me. His face lights up when he sees us. "My 2 treasures," he says, bending to scoop our son into his arms. "Ready to greet our guests?" Our son nods eagerly. "I practiced my bow all week." My husband laughs, setting him down. "I'm sure you'll impress everyone." Then he turns to me, his eyes softening. "And you, my queen, will outshine the sun itself." He offers me his arm, and together, with our son walking proudly ahead, we enter the great hall. The room falls silent as we appear. Hundreds of faces turn toward us, noble lords and ladies in fine clothes, common folk in their best but simpler garments, children with wide, wondering eyes. And scattered throughout, men and women wearing blue stones around their necks, the mark of those with gifts, who now serve as advisors in every part of the kingdom. My husband steps forward to address the crowd. "Welcome all of you to the 5th annual spring gathering. 5 years ago, when we first opened our doors to all people of this land, I promised a new beginning, a kingdom where strength and kindness rule together, where gifts once hidden are now celebrated, where no child grows up in fear of who they are." The hall erupts in cheers. My son beams up at his father with pride. When the noise dies down, my husband continues. "None of this would have been possible without my queen, who taught me what true strength looks like, who kept our son safe when all seemed lost, who showed me that the mightiest power comes not from force, but from love." He turns to me, his eyes shining with the same love he speaks of. The crowd cheers again, and I feel my cheeks warm with a blush. The formal part of the gathering gives way to celebration. Music plays, people dance, tables groan under the weight of food and drink. My husband and I move among our guests, greeting old friends, meeting new ones, listening to concerns, celebrating victories. Late in the afternoon, a small girl approaches me, no more than 7 years old. She carries a single white flower, which she holds out to me with a trembling hand. "For you, Queen," she whispers. "Because you're like me." I kneel to her level, taking the flower with a smile. "And how am I like you, little one?" She glances at her mother, who gives her an encouraging nod. "I see things, too," she says very quietly. "Things that haven't happened yet. Things that glow. Mama says I don't have to be scared anymore because of you." My heart swells with joy and fierce pride. This is why we fought so hard. This is what makes the crown's weight worth bearing. "Your mama is right," I tell her. "Your gift is beautiful, not scary. And one day, if you want, you can come live at the palace and learn how to use it to help others." Her eyes grow wide as moons. "Really?" "Really, I promise. We need bright young seers like you." Later, as the sun begins to set, my husband finds me in a quiet corner of the garden. Our son plays nearby with other children, their laughter ringing through the evening air. "Happy?" my husband asks, slipping his arm around my waist. "More than I ever thought possible," I tell him, leaning into his strength. "Sometimes I still can't believe it," he says, watching our son. "That we found each other against all odds. That we built this life from the ruins my cousin left. The stones led us together," I remind him, touching the blue gem that still hangs around my neck, just as they were meant to. He turns me to face him, his eyes serious. "It wasn't just the stones. It was you, your courage, your heart, the woman who took in a wounded stranger and his son, who kept that son safe through winter and danger, who never stopped believing I would return. The woman who was once afraid of her own shadow," I say with a small smile. "The woman who found her strength," he corrects me gently, "who turned what others called a curse into a blessing for an entire kingdom." Over his shoulder, I see our son running toward us, his face alight with joy. Behind him come other children, some with blue stones of their own. None of them afraid, none of them alone. This is our legacy, not just the crown, not just the kingdom, but this new world we've built together. A world where being different isn't something to fear, but something to celebrate. Where a village outcast can become a beloved queen. Where the very thing that once made me hide in shadows now lets me stand tall in the light. My husband sees where I'm looking and turns to watch the children too. Our son reaches us, throwing himself into his father's arms with complete trust and love. "Papa, Mama, come see what Lila can do. She can make water dance in the air." My husband laughs. "Lead the way, little warrior." As we follow our son, hand in hand, I think about the long, strange path that brought us here. From a frightened girl to a confident queen. From a lone wolf to the leader of a pack. From strangers thrown together by fate to a family bound by love. The transformation is complete. And it is beautiful.